Alrighty, beautiful people. Welcome back to the Verdi podcast. It is an absolute pleasure to be sitting next to this wonderful human today. Joe, welcome.
Hello.
What a time to be alive. How's your day been?
It's been great.
Yeah.
Hectic.
How was the flow-on effect from delivering our team a PD on all things pregnancy and training yesterday?
Yeah, that was fun. I was actually reflecting on that with somebody today. I reflected on it with you yesterday, so you have an awesome team. But it's cool to
Good
actually
humans.
deliver tailored advice in my scope to other people that might not hear the stuff or
Yes.
become aware of these things or go out of their way to research these things themselves, which I think is like sometimes you get that imposter syndrome, right, where you're like, oh, I don't know enough until you maybe do something like that you think, okay, I actually know a lot.
Yes.
It's just about getting the information to the right people.
Yes, I hope my team's listening to this because I've had this conversation with two of you this week, right? Like, I don't know if it's just like my ignorance or like the imposter syndrome. I've felt it, obviously, like running the gym and, you know, like I opened the gym at 23 and I like didn't know anything, like, but you kind of like, you figure out what you, mostly I definitely don't know a lot, but you start to figure out things.
Yeah.
What have you done to kind of show yourself that the imposter syndrome is more imagined than real?
I think it's really just blocking out the noise and instead of focusing on doing everything, honing on the one thing.
Yeah.
Because when you try to be a jack of all trades and you try to impress too many people, you get carried away with thinking that you need to know everything when really you just need to know one thing and then you need to collaborate with other people that help you to pull it all together. Yeah. So you become ignorant when you think, no, I can do it all and I can give all of this to someone. And look, yes, health is holistic, strength is holistic, you know, you can't perform without eating, but you also can't be the nutritionist, the dietitian, you can't be the you can't be the psychologist that potentially, helps you with your trauma and be the person that trains you. Yeah. So I was saying that to somebody today, instead of being a jack of all trades, if you hone in on the one thing that you're passionate about and really want to deliver, you'll be good at that and then you will no longer have that imposter syndrome. Yeah,
I like that. And it's so essentially just like building confidence to a point where you're like, I have the confidence to know that I know what the fuck I'm talking about and I have the capacity to deliver it in a way, understand context and then go from there, right?
100%. Like even putting together the PD, I was able to just put my knowledge into slides and then I didn't have a script. Yeah.
But
and
then
that
you
is
talk
confidence.
about shit that you care about,
100%.
that align with your values, that are the principles that underpin your coaching and your programming and the conversations you have with the wider world on your Instagram and the women that you coach. Yeah. And you end up being able to be like, oh, it turns out I can talk about the shit that I love a lot, which is like, that's the juice, that's the good stuff.
Absolutely. Yeah. And it's just that exposure that you have. So when you get high exposure to your demographic or your clientele or whatever you do, you gain confidence because we can identify patterns that you commonly see and then you understand that, hey, this is actually what the issue is and then you can have a solution to the issue and then now you understand why we're in the position that we're in and then you can just deliver that.
Yeah, and it's just a feedback loop where you're like, where you see it enough, every time you communicate those ideas, principles, thoughts, etc., you're like iterating and then you reiterate the next time and every time you're kind of like sharpening the blade a little bit, sharpening the sword a little bit so that you can get to a point where you're like, I know exactly what to talk about, how to understand the context and all of the different things. But it just ends up being a reps thing, right?
100% practice.
Which we love. Something like that. Yeah. So the PD was awesome. If you're running a gym, get her in. She's fantastic. And it was cool to see like, because, we obviously like chat a little bit at Convoke every now and again, but so much of our like relationship has been like online, social. So it was cool to just see you in your element, just being like, here's the shit that I care about. Yeah. And I think that's almost like the best way to see someone is just that like you understand what makes you tick and what fires you up. Like there were some of the things yesterday you got so like passionate about, but it was so fun to like see you get fired up. Because and the cool thing was like the belief systems I think like align really well because like it's just and there's context to all of this stuff, but like pregnancy, pre-postnatal, so much of it is just good training, right? Is understanding context, understanding what you can and can't do, building good foundations, building capacity over a period of time. How has your progression as a coach, and one of the things, we just went for a coffee, it was elite, almost had a black coffee, it was phenomenal.
I'm not in it.
Can't trust anyone that puts milk in their coffee, I tell you what. No, I'm kidding. But like, we chatted about lots of things, but like, how did you get into coaching? You've obviously done a bunch beforehand.
Yeah.
Like, you've lived a fairly busy 10, 15 years.
Yeah.
How did you get into coaching? What was the process? What kind of made you go, nah, these 7 degrees aren't the thing. This is the thing I want to do.
Yeah, I recently had a conversation with my accountant that said, I'm
shout out, by the way.
yeah. Medal to you. You have the highest hex deck I have seen.
Elite.
I like learning, and I used to have this thing in my head that I didn't want to get to 30 and hate my job.
Yeah, love.
And so I was like, I'm just going to do everything. I'm going to be a barista. I'm going to work in retail. I'm going to be a dental assistant. I'm going to manage retail stores. I am going to I don't know what else I did. I did admin. I was a police officer. I did everything.
Police officer.
Yeah, I was a police officer.
We didn't sneak into that one before.
I fell pregnant while I was in the academy, and then I did scheduling for the academy. But I resigned technically at the start of COVID. So I've done a lot of things. I'm a qualified teacher. Like I have a business marketing degree. Yeah, I've done lots, and if there's anything that I'm not scared of, it's hard work.
Yeah, good.
So I was like, I just don't want to get to 30 and be unhappy with where I'm at. So I don't know. I just started doing all these things. But we all start our, I guess, fitness, health journey because men, it's usually a sport. We like playing AFL or cricket or whatever. But for women, it's generally aesthetics driven. We want to look better. So we were smashing ourselves in the gym, getting as tiny as we possibly could and eating absolutely nothing. And while I did that, I was like, actually, it made me feel like I used to feel when I did like athletics at school, you know, like that performance where you're like, oh, I actually like performing. I actually like being good at something and I like being good at something. Like I do. And so
it's human nature.
Yeah, exactly.
We do the shit we're good at and we don't do the shit we suck at.
Absolutely. And so I was like, when I got into training again at the gym, I remember reaching out, you know, to a coach, and I started PTing, and I just liked the way that it made me feel. So yes, I was going to lose weight. I thought that I'd go to the gym and I'd burn as many calories as possible in the sweat and whatever. But what came from that was I actually enjoyed the process of training. I had something other than life that I really enjoyed doing, which was going to the gym.
Awesome.
And then when I went to the gym, there was a community. I started making friends. I started going with my friends. And so reflecting on it now and thinking about me just saying this, I was like, actually, it's more than just aesthetics. So it was started, and that's generally the journny. That's what my clients
whatever your
take.
Entry point is, it doesn't necessarily matter, right?
No, because the best part is the journey. It sounds so cliche, but it is. So anyways, I started training, essentially lifting weights at 21. It feels aged. I mean, it's been 11 years now. And so that then sort of led into me becoming a better athlete over time, because I then got into bodybuilding. Again, it was an aesthetic sport, and I was like, cool, this is something just to focus on. Really, it was just something to give me drive and to give me direction. I had a really great coach. His name was Joe. He's still coaching actually, and he really nurtured me. He was the first person that taught me how to lift with proper form.
Yeah.
He was the first person that got me to like a 90 kilo deadlift. He was super knowledgeable for where he was at. Like he just taught me things, and he was my comp prep coach, and he was just really lovely. And so I think I was with him for 2 years. It was sort of like an end of an era when I was like, I'm going to move on.
Yeah.
And I think it was sad for both of us, but I still talk to him every now and then. Yeah. Anyway, so he probably really cemented my love for training outside aesthetics. Like I remember coming away from a comp and being like, what do I do now? It's not aesthetic driven. And he's like, you really need to switch to performance based. And that was like a big thing for me. And so I had become this athlete, and then I was training in gyms, and my knowledge sort of grew, and then I became pregnant. And so I loved training. I loved it. I just wanted to train. And I was like, shit, what am I going to do? Like, how do I even get through this period? I need to keep training. This is part of my identity now. It's who I am. I can't let it go. And so it came from a fear of losing my identity that I wanted to keep training. And so I actually reached out to one of my best friends now, Elise.
Shout out.
Shout out to Elise. And I was like, can you train me through pregnancy? And she was
Verdi OG.
Yeah, she is. And she was like, oh my God, yeah. She's like, all honesty, I have no really idea what I'm doing. I don't care. I just train me. And so she trained me, and there was a couple of times where we probably borderline nauseous, I don't know, dizzy.
When you know better, you do better, right?
Yeah. And it got to a point where she's like, okay, I think I need to actually stop training you now. Like, and I think maybe like 36 weeks. And I was like, no, I'll be right. And she's like, no, actually. And I really respected that from her. It's awesome because the tables have turned and I trained her through her pregnancy, which is great.
That's
I love
so cool.
that. Oh, it's the best. And that's how we actually became good friends. But anyways, that's a different story. I digress. I did a lot of research myself. So I was like, I know that I can train through this period. I know that I know that it's going to benefit my baby. I know that it's going to benefit me. There were things that I didn't know, but I just knew that I could train. So I was like, I'm just going to train. And then that turned into me being like, hang on a minute. I'm good at this. Like I don't know everything, but I can do the thing.
Yeah.
So then I became qualified, and then I consecutively had Daisy, which is my second baby. And then I started learning more about it. I was applying it in real time. COVID hit, training from home. And then I decided to dig deeper, and I did my corrective exercise specialist course. And that really opened it up for me. But also just having the balls, because I had pregnancies and trained through them, to take on clients in the pregnant space. I was like, okay, now I'm so dedicated to learning that it never scared me to not know what to do. I was like, if I'm just put in a position to have to learn something, if I don't know it, I will learn it. Or I'll be completely honest and say, I don't know, but I'll find out for you. So I pretty much started coaching in that space because there was no one doing it. There was misinformation, and I wanted to do it myself. And then because I had done it myself, people had trusted me. But I was also super responsible. I never tried to do anything outside of my scope. I say that even though I took on, I was qualified, but there was still so much I didn't know because I didn't have this exposure to this clientele. So now that if I think back, I go like, crap, like I navigated it really well. But there's also so much that I didn't know at the time.
Yeah. But then you reflect, and like there's the evolution that comes, right? Like
absolutely.
Yeah, and it's really interesting because it is such a like specialized space. And like what we were talking about before is like, good training is good training to a point, but then you need to know, and again, I used this example when you were chatting yesterday, but it's like they're different things, but like you don't have to have gone through an ACL injury to have had an ACL injury. But if you've gone through it and you understand the process and you had certain things that went well and didn't, you have the capacity to then help someone else through that process. And if you understand all of the mechanisms and the steps and what you're going to go through, pregnancy, similar. And what it allows you to do as you're going through that process is going, next time I'll do this different. Next time I'll do this different. And then you get exposed to the pregnant pre-postnatal population enough to be like, every time is just like a feedback loop that just tightens it a little bit, and you get better and you get better and you get better. Like the physio, there's like the physio space, which is like so much is just like diagnosis and like, shitty written down. If you write down an exercise on a piece of paper, grow the fuck up, right? Send a fucking video. It's not that hard. And then there's like the EP space, which is very specific and depends on the clinic of where they're at and who the person is. And then the coaching space is like chaos, right? Is like, you've got your straight out of PT course coaches, and you've got your, all the way up to like exercise specialists who have done, ex-fears, masters, all of the things. And it's like people almost like have to get lucky to land in a place where people know what they're talking about, right? It's
so unregulated. It's the most unregulated industry, I feel, when it comes from that like Cert 3-4.
Yeah. I agree, and the entry level is so shit. But most of the shitty ones are out relatively quickly. I think like you went to the level up, learn. But I also think there's like, maybe it's a little bit of a bias because that's the industry that we see all the time, right? Like you talk to most professionals, they'll be like, oh, there are some really shit insert profession here, right?
Yes.
But it's like, and I think maybe the damage that poor coaching can have is probably the big thing, right? Like
100%.
Whether it be the let's eat less, train more, and like, just ruin your system for the next 10 years, or it's the like, the other end of the spectrum where it's like, just keep putting weight on, you'll be fine.
Yeah.
Like, we know that it's like, we've got to find the space that it's like, we were talking before of like enjoyment, adaptation, adherence. And if we can tick those three boxes the majority of the time, we're going to make progress. So yeah, COVID, dialing in, coaching, And then when was Natal Strength Coach born? When did you start driving that as like you and then obviously as a brand outside of just who you are?
Yeah. I wanted to scale and like really make something of this space other than away from myself, or as an extension of myself, should I say.
Yeah.
I think I should have documented this. I feel so bad that I didn't document this. I moved so quickly and I'm like, I'm just doing it. We often lack the ability to reflect, I suppose, and that's why I did that. So I think it was probably like 3 years ago now. I reckon that like Natal Strength Coach began. And I literally just started posting free, valuable insight.
Yeah.
I just wanted to get the information out there, and I just sort of like boomed.
Yeah.
And I was doing this before, but yeah, that was really cool because I felt like I remember writing down a 5-year goal, and one of my 5-year goals was to have this what I have now, and it was really funny.
Cool.
Almost to the day, I found this notebook in this weird spot in my laundry cupboard. And I remember I did a podcast that day, and for some reason I was looking through that laundry cupboard and I found the book, and to the day it was like I had achieved all of the goals that I'd written down, which was really, really cool. But one of them was this brand, what I'm doing now. And I've subconsciously or consciously worked on this every day for the last for the last 5 or 6 years. And that's a cool feeling. So yeah, and I don't ever want to stop. Like, I unless you are passionate about what you do, you will not do it. Business owners know that. No one will ever be as passionate or as loving or as caring about the business that you are trying to grow or sustain than yourself. And you have to be passionate about it because no one else is going to go through that experience other than you.
Yes.
Unless you're
100%.
super passionate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And this is the flip side to that, like passionate, like you can see how much you enjoy it on your face while you're talking about it, right?
Yeah, I love it.
But it's also really, it's also really hard.
It's so hard.
And then being able to balance being a mum,
Yep.
3 little legends, and then, being a partner and then your own training. How have you found that process or that growth over the last, say, 3 years since you've this is what I'm doing? Because obviously there's so many ups and downs. There would be so much that people see, I would imagine, of you online, and I think you're pretty good at showing both sides. But there's when you can't actually get a camera in your hand because life's just fucking all over the shop. Like, how's that process been, and what has it taught you?
I think my husband would love me to slow down sometimes, but I just can't. And so I
just
really
watch Braveheart with him once or twice.
Yeah. He would love if I just. I mean, saying that, I barely sit down and watch a movie. Like, I honestly am like, if I have time to sit down and watch a movie, I have time to be on my laptop doing something. So I am that person that needs to hustle, but also needs to probably. I'm getting better at that, which is great. And I think that's only going to make me a better coach and a better business owner.
Agreed.
But gosh, after having Bear, they have been probably the last 3 years have probably been the toughest 3 years. Yeah. And it has been, I have been pregnant and breastfeeding for since the last 6 years maybe. So I breastfed all of my babies. I've done all the night wakes. Sam has never really done a night wake. That's just how we function in my family. He's not horrible. My husband is so 50-50. He will do the washing. He will sweep up. He'll vacuum. He'll unload the dishwasher. My husband is so... we're so 50-50 when it comes to that. He's very,
you
very
just find the rhythms at work, right?
You do,
it's
100%.
Then, when that 60, when it's pushed 60-40 one way or the other, it's have the capacity to communicate about it and then move on. It's we're all winning, right?
Absolutely. But I worked at wineries. I was working multiple jobs while building my business. Yeah. And so I feel like I have the resilience just based on how I was raised to endure hardship. Yeah. And so any sort of hardship that we have endured over the past 3 years, whether it be financial, whether it be time consuming, whether it be children waking, screaming, behavioral, developmental, I've just learned to adapt. Yeah. And I always say that, your life is never going to be perfect. I don't know why we all wait for this perfect time. People are like, after Christmas I'm good because I'm back from holiday and then I can really get dug in. Don't get me wrong, I respect that. Yes. But also, if you are going to wait for the perfect moment, as cliche as it sounds, there will never be the perfect moment. Your attachment to the outcome is what holds you back. Yes. You need to be attached to how you can pivot.
Process
and I am
and
such a
tick it
pivot
off. Yeah,
person.
that's
Like, I'm like, right, this is happening, pivot. This is happening, pivot. And you build systems around that. Like now me and my husband, we have systems. He trains in the morning on a Monday, Wednesday, Friday. I train in the afternoon on a Monday. I train in the afternoon on Tuesday and an afternoon on a Thursday. He goes to jiu-jitsu on a Monday night and a Wednesday night. I have got the kids on a Wednesday night. Like, I do bedtime on a Wednesday night and a Monday night. Like, if anyone misses their gap to train, that's it. It's gone. Sorry, but you don't get that back. Like, there is no time to waste. We are so efficient with our time because we have so much to fit in. But that has been developed over the course of the last 5 years. And then my relationship, I've been in my marriage for, I mean, I met Sam when I was 21. And so people look at us and they're like, oh my God, you guys are so loving. And so you guys seem like, yeah. But there was a time where we were doing fun things that weren't as productive for our relationship. We both decided that we wanted to be each other's people. And so we had to put in the hard work and we had to have the tough conversations and we had to, you know, I saw a therapist when I was, you know, second time pregnant with Daisy, had prenatal depression. Who even knew that was a thing? And a lot of the issues that I was projecting to my husband, it was actually me. And I'd come out of therapy and be like, guess what I learned? He was like, I love this therapist.
And I don't know, it's almost like when you have that capacity to like go realize and this for me is across business, life. It's like you're the problem. Like everything in your life is your responsibility. Like, it's not your fault, right?
No.
We got to this point because of, 99% of things that have nothing to do with you and they weren't choices. But right now, here are the 5 things you can control. Like what you say, how you respond to your thoughts, what you do, how you behave, and that's pretty much it, right? What you consume, and then that's it. And if we have that, for me, it's like when you get to that realization, you're like, oh shit, it's all on me, which I think is the best thing, because then it allows you to be like, cool, what do I want my life to look like? You build agency, you build capacity. And then when you, because we all fuck up, right? Like life, we all make mistakes, me more often than most, but it's like when it's on you and the impediment, you realize the impediment to your growth is you, then you go, okay, well now I have the awareness to be like, okay, how am I getting in the way? What do I need to do better? Which then just creates space for people in your life to be like, oh, maybe I want to do the same.
100%. And I think we had this conversation before. You can feel a certain way, you can't act a certain way. And so what you said before is that you are responsible for the way you feel. It's your responsibility. Yep. How you act, how you feel, it's your responsibility. If someone doesn't make you feel good, don't hang around them. Yep. If following someone on Instagram makes you judge them, get rid of them. Yep. Like, you are responsible.
That's why I keep seeing you unfollow me and follow me and unfollow you.
Yeah, that's me. I like you, I don't like you, I like you, I like you. It's actually interesting. I had this I put this thing up a few weeks ago, and I said, if someone doesn't make you feel good on social media, just get rid of them. Yeah. And it's funny because I've been I'm a victim. We're just talking about how you need to be responsible. But I have been in the position where I have followed someone, not because I genuinely enjoy following them, but I just want to pry. Yeah. I'm sorry, but it's like watching a reality TV show, and I'm like, hey, and then I have to call myself out on that. Yeah. I'm like, there is no benefit here to me following this person other than just being nosy. Yeah. So I'm eliminating that, and it's really funny once you eliminate that energy and be really responsible for your actions. One, you grow. You challenge yourself, you grow, and you don't even consider them anymore in your life. And it's funny because that person, I might not even see that person in real life, but because I've unfollowed that person, they're now like, she's got beef with me. No, I don't have beef with you.
I've made up this imaginary scenario in my head where she has beef with me, where in reality it's like...
No, that's not it. I don't have beef with you. I just choose not to see what you're doing in everyday life all the time. It doesn't mean I'm not going to say hi to you down the street. I'm not pleasant. I just choose to follow you from a place of being responsible and enjoyment, and I don't want to think bad things about you if that's what I don't know if that's what's happening in my mind. If we all have different values, we all follow different people on social media. We all follow different trends, etc.
Yeah.
At the moment, my whole Instagram page reel thing is of cats because I want to buy a new cat. So it's awesome. Love it. Yeah, actually. But maybe a time ago, it was...
Is the cat coming?
Oh, man, it's coming.
Yeah.
Sam's giving me the green light.
I told KP she could get a new cat.
Oh,
but
my
it
God,
gives me the capacity to get new dogs. Like,
yeah.
That's the trade-off.
That's the trade-off,
right?
yeah.
So every time she's like, I want another kitten, I'm like, get one, mate. Get one. Just we might end up with another border collie.
It's going to cost us double.
Exactly.
But yeah, do you know, like there was once upon a time where my feed was all of girls with skinny waists and thigh gaps.
Yeah.
Like, you know, and so as you evolve and your values refine and you understand who you want to become more,
yes.
the choices that you make are going to be more intentional.
Yeah.
You're going to hold more responsibility for yourself. You don't end up blaming people. You actually look inwards and go, how can I shift my focus? Yeah. And you start taking action on things that actually are going to create impact.
Yeah, having the feedback loop of like, okay, how am I the problem is one of the most empowering things, I think, because then it's like, okay, what do I do now, right? Like you said the word choice and choose, like lots through that is like you have the capacity to choose. And that like the quote on the wall over there is like the space between stimulus and response is like you can choose your response.
Yes.
Yeah, whether it be a shitty thought that you have about yourself or like the imposter syndrome thing or the like I don't know what I'm talking about. You can choose to be like, okay, I'm going to figure that out. I'm going to learn that. And I think that like being able to then get into that headspace, and I don't know if it's like, you know, the parenting aspect or whether it's just like, you know, but in our 30s now and you kind of like, okay, I'm starting to understand how the world works a little bit better. But I remember one of our mentors in the gym space, he used to say, like one of his lines, like, imagine getting to insert age here and not knowing what you value the most or not knowing what's most important to you. And like, you know, if you don't know, it's like, cool, now's the opportunity to figure it out. But it's like, I think that everyone should be able to sit there and articulate, here are my core values. And here are the ways that these core values show up in a transient way in my life that allows me to, act in a way that is aligned with those, which then allows you to be like, here's what's important to me. Yeah. And if you see some misinformation or you have someone talk to you about like some misinformation they've heard about pregnancy and not strength training, you're going to be like, all right, this aligns with my values. I am going to help grow this space and educate you on this thing. But if you see someone like bang on about something you don't really give a shit about, it's like, all right, unfollow, see you later.
Absolutely. Yeah, exactly. And I think it's just a matter of understanding who you want to be and how your environment is going to impact that. And it's not unfortunate, but social media is a very big part of our environment that we're subconsciously actioning. And so like it'll happen. You will literally sit there scrolling through reels and you're subconsciously taking in this information and consciously it's having impacts without you even realizing. But if you're not going to, like, have you ever been with someone that you don't particularly gel with, or you might not have the same values? As a person, I am very big on being genuine. And if I can't genuinely be the person I want to be when I'm with this other person, you're probably not my person. Doesn't mean that you're bad. We're just not gelling. I just can't be someone that I genuinely am not. Yeah,
but it's an interesting reflection and like awareness space of like, okay, why, right? Because it's almost like that mirror on yourself. Like, okay, why can't I be myself around this person? And it might be a fear of being judged, or it might be a thing that you have around them. But it's almost like, well, if I can't, and like, I don't know, the way I see life is like it's hard enough, right? If we layer on like having to be a different version of ourselves that isn't aligned with and authentic with who we are and what we believe and what's important to us, then like I don't have any energy for that.
No,
I barely got energy for the shit that I give a shit, like actually care about, right? So it's like, and this is the one of the questions we're using here is like, okay, what's taking away your energy at the moment? What outside of the gym space or like what's pulling at your energy, and like, is this useful? Is the feedback loop to come? And the answer might be, I need to get up and look after my kids at 2 a.m. because like that's not controllable. It's like, if I'm not going to do that, no one's going to do it. I got to do it, right? Yeah. Or it might be, actually I'm scrolling Instagram for 2 hours at night, like not adding any value. Like I can scroll Instagram with the best of them, right? But I like to have like if it's, and I go to sleep way too late, but it's like, If it hit 12, if it's like 11:54, I'll be like, okay, I got 6 minutes to scroll, and then I've got to go to sleep, right? But it's like it's almost like you give yourself permission. We spoke about priorities. Maybe it was before the podcast. We should have just chatted first and then coffee later. I forgot what we haven't talked about, but it was like you can choose what your priorities are.
Yeah.
And you know, if that's aligned with what's important, you would like to think that you have the capacity to like get the wheels turning. But if you don't, then you like procrastinate and you go, oh, I'm going to do this instead. I'm going to do this instead because you're like, I know that this is going to take some effort. So it's like, it's way easier just like getting some cheap dopamine.
Yeah, well, that's what we were talking about before, about how distraction has the word action in it, and it also has the word traction in it. So if we want to be pulled towards our goal or who we want to become or our identity, we need to gain traction by taking action. And what stops us from doing that is distraction. And that's what we were saying in terms of like, it's the trigger. It's either internal or external. And the external trigger might be your phone or social media. And the internal trigger is a feeling. Yeah. What governs all of that are feelings. And so generally when we are distracted by something, we are feeling overwhelmed. We are feeling angry. We are feeling sad. We feel like we can't be bothered working out today. We feel like we can't be bothered parenting today. We feel like we can't be bothered dealing with a meltdown today. So I'm just going to give my kid the chocolate and the banana and the 3 apples that it wants to eat. And I don't care about the food anymore because you have a capacity, you have a threshold, right? But it's about being able to park the feeling. You don't neglect the feeling. You park the feeling. You might write it down mentally, visually, stick it in the note section of your phone. And then at the end of the day, when you're debriefing with your husband, your partner, your friend, whoever it might be, you come back to that feeling. 9 times out of 10, the feeling that you were feeling in the day is actually like minor. It doesn't even matter. It was actually silly. You reflect and you're like, wow, that was stupid. But there might be this one feeling that's like, this is actually a common trend. This is occurring really frequently. And like you were saying, like, how do I spend, what needs to be eliminated or what needs to change here? What do I choose to spend my energy and time on that is going to make this better?
Yes.
So for a lot of parents or people who don't want, like, it's like they feel they don't have enough time. They're feeling overwhelmed. So it's like, okay, simple tool, which everyone does, is like, look at your screen time. And I did this to one of my clients and I was like, how much time do you spend on screen? She's like, oh, I don't know. I was like, she's like, how do I check? And I said, she's going to be listening to this. Probably.
I turned it off because ignorance is bliss.
Yeah. Oh, it's so bliss. That's why people don't track their food because they don't want to know what they're eating. Again, lack of responsibility. It's nice sometimes. And it's completely valid sometimes. But yeah, it's like, that's one of the first things. You think you don't have time, see how much time you spend on your phone and then go, well, shit, it's actually like 8 hours a day. But then actually have a look into it and go, how much time do I spend on these apps? Because sometimes people work from their phone. I use my phone a lot. I use WhatsApp a lot. It's valid. The other day, I asked my husband that question. We were like, oh, let's see. He had spent like under an hour on Instagram, but like 5 hours on Google Maps because he drives everywhere. So it's like, that's valid. That's a valid, good use of your time on your phone.
Actually understanding that this is what the data is saying, not just like, oh shit. Like, because if we look at it and, you know, there's so many training and life analogies with this, but like if you look at it and go, oh, there's 8 hours, but you've spent 6 hours of those working and actually moving the needle and making progress, and, you know, there might be some entertainment stuff in there, but you've ticked all of these boxes. You're like, okay, well, I'm doing the thing that aligns with what's important to me. I'm moving forward. I'm making progress. So this is okay. Yeah. But if you don't look at it, you don't have the capacity to like go, is this useful or is this not?
Yeah, well, it's data. At any capacity, like the more data you have, the more information you have, I always say you can make more informed decisions. So if you neglect the data or you don't want to see the data, because sometimes the data can be super confronting and that makes you feel really uncomfortable. That's a feeling. Yeah. That's an internal trigger.
Look at us go.
Yeah, we're into something here.
I love the link back.
Yeah, that's an internal trigger.
Yes.
And so it's like, now do you have like, you know, is the internal trigger is that really what's causing the issue? Is that in alignment with your values? Is that in alignment with the person you want to become? Probably not. And so it is that feedback loop. But you're right in saying that maybe it's, you know, you're saying maybe it's age, maybe it's parenthood. It's parenthood. Yeah. Because what you do is you start parenting or you start becoming this person out of fear of what you don't want your children to be. How many times have you said, what do you say? thank you, because you don't want them to be rude.
Yeah.
A child is not considering whether they're rude or not. They are just, they literally a filter. Like they don't have a filter. Children are the most beautiful things because they literally say things without a filter, and it's hilarious.
But like that, but that's the best part, right? And then
it's the best. It's why being a child is awesome.
Try and get out of their way a little bit so that they can actually express who they are.
Yeah.
But I think that that lack of filter and also that filter that we have, and then like when you, and this is, I think, there's a Jimmy Carr line where he's like, I was playing life on, and if you don't want kids, fucking play on, don't care. But it's like, you do what makes you happy and that aligns with your values. But it's like, his thing is like, we thought we never wanted kids. They had kids like a little bit later. And he's like, I was playing life on easy mode. I had no skin in the game. Now I have layers of expectation and like I have to show up. I have to do these things and I have to be, I have to reflect and be self-aware and build my capacity and all of those kind of things. And I think that like maybe parenting's like the reason for a lot of people. That's the shift that you make, the purpose. Like some people it might be the job that they love, or it might be like a book they read that like completely shapes their or shifts their the way they view the world and their biases and things. And I think parenting just holds a mirror up because you're so that you can be so reactive when things are like, you walk inside and just shit's everywhere, kids are throwing stuff, they're being like, authentically themselves, which is just a little fuck at that point. And you're just like, all I want to do now is react. And sometimes we react and like 5 minutes later, we're like, oh fuck, I really shouldn't have done that. But that's another feedback loop of like, okay, that's not who I want to be. No. And like, you mentioned, like, we'll talk about this from a pregnancy standpoint, but people move towards the things they want or move away from the things they don't want to be. That fear or that feedback loop, again, feeling, but it's it's almost like, how do I be aware of these things when they happen? Have that capacity from between stimulus and response to choose what I'm going to do. And we make the wrong decision probably, half the time, maybe hopefully a little bit less. So it's like, if I can make that wrong decision, like not at all or less, it's like, that's what we're here for. That's the growth and the change. Yeah.
Motherhood. So funny you mentioned that about parenting. You step into an identity as soon as you have a child. You choose the identity. Conception is the identity. You're going to become a mum or a dad. You're not really sure what that identity looks like until you have children. Yeah. And for mothers and women, and I don't know how it feels for dads, I think there's a different sort of identity shift or responsibility that you take on as a dad, because now you're providing for a family. You're not just providing for you and your partner. Before children, you both work, life's bliss, you do whatever you want. Hey, what are you doing? I'm just at the gym. Hey, I'll meet you back home at 5 o'clock. Sweet. You do whatever you go for it. Yeah, it literally.
After dinner? Yeah, sure.
The world is your oyster. Yeah, you book the holiday. You whatever.
Cherish it.
Yeah, cherish it. And then you have children, and now you're like, can I go for a shower? The disparity. It's like your identity changes like this, and you're no longer that person that you are that person that you were, but at a lesser capacity, because your primary identity is to be a mother.
There's another dimension then, right?
It's 3D now. Yeah. It's no longer this like 2D thing. It's like 3D. It's complex. And so for women, they really struggle. And I held on to training because it was a part of my identity, and it allowed me to feel like me, even though I was building this new identity of becoming a mother. And I'd always wanted to become a mother. Like since I was a little girl, I was like, I want to have kids. Yeah. I want to be a mum. Like I just wanted it. And so I suppose when you, as we were saying before, you decide on the person you want to become, you set the values of that person, and then based on those values, you make decisions. And you're very responsible for the decisions you make. And those decisions you make, as you said, pull you either closer towards where you want to be, or they either pull you further away. But it doesn't mean that you're not going to make mistakes in the interim. Like I very much make mistakes all the time. I have yelled at my children. I've slapped my child on the hand. Like I'm going to be the first person to put my hand up and say, like, I have done things as a parent that I literally step back and go, I can't believe I just acted like that. But I am the first one to go and apologize for acting that way. And I always explain that I shouldn't have acted that way. I did so because I was feeling this way. Yeah. I'm so completely sorry. And as a result, my mirrors, who are my children, they can lose their mind, which they do. And in 5 minutes, they will come back and go, sorry, Mum, I shouldn't have acted that way. Yeah. And that is where it's like, now I'm creating impact.
You create the space for them to then have that loop of like, okay, well, this isn't necessarily and obviously they don't think of it the same way we do, but this isn't who I want to be, or this isn't what I am, or this wasn't me. It's like, turns out you're just hungry for the 4,000th time today, right?
Literally.
It's that, like, it's the capacity to be able to go, like, yeah, we're all fallible. We're all like works in progress. We're all figuring this out. You know, there's 1,000 inputs that will potentially lead to you not acting the way you want. But ideally, as you progress, you're having those responses less often, and you're making better choices, and the actions are different, which then allows you to go, how to, and the identity thing is so fascinating, right? Because obviously it's so different for guys, right?
Yes.
Your partner's pregnant and you can see them going through this thing, but you're kind of like, my life ain't any different until the baby's here. And then, my life's different, but it's so different to how you, like, what you guys experience. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think it's like, one of my mates said to me before, he had kids a few years before Lucy was born, he's like, oh, I didn't really feel like I connected with my kids until they were like able to like interact with me.
Yep.
Which like I understood. I don't think I necessarily felt like that initially, but you're like, they're a potato that like poos and stuff, right? But then like obviously the initial connection you have as a mother with your kids is like so different to how we experience it. But it's almost like then things shift as they get older. They become little maniacs that talk back to you. You see yourself in them. And then it's like, okay, well, this builds as you go. Whereas you guys are almost like, we're full in. Like, we're like, we're right in the deep end straight away. Whereas I feel as though guys are like, we kind of like wade in the shallow end and try and catch up with you in the deep end. That's probably like the best analogy I've got for like my experience maybe over the last 6 years.
I think watching my husband, I think you're on the money there. I think watching my husband and understanding.
I'm not usually right, so that's good. I appreciate it.
No, I like it. I'll add some mayo to that. But
go on.
So with motherhood, the moment you fall pregnant, you start forming this bond with this thing that you don't even know. Like you're imagining this baby, you're growing this baby, it's kicking you. It's literally made from your cells. Like you are already forming this beautiful relationship with something that you haven't even met, but is so completely a part of you. And so when you birth this baby, the feeling is like you are literally one still. So those early days, you're just holding something that was still there, but it's now in the physical, it's in the flesh, or like holding it outside of you, but you've been holding it for 9 months anyway. So you've already built that relationship. The dad's like, oh, like I felt it kick a couple of times. Cool. Yeah, but even if you think of like wild animals in the wild, like lions and like tigers, like they don't have that connection with their young until later. Yeah. And so that's what happens with women and mothers. So they end up taking most of the responsibility, the night wakes, the feeding, the breast, and the dad sort of is just working and supporting. And sometimes he doesn't know he doesn't feel like he can be of help. Yep. Because he's like, that, so as you said, that thing is it's a potato that poos. But to us, it's like this thing that we have to kiss and smell and hold. Yeah. And it's like we're protecting it. And in our minds, we're also thinking about all the other things that we need to be doing around the house and stuff. But we have formed this relationship. And then as your baby or child gets older and starts to respond, the dad's like, this is fun. I get to interact with this thing. This is so cool. Hey, look, I can put it up in the air and it's laughing. But the greatest thing about watching my husband be a dad is like when they start like boshing, we call it boshing in our house, which is play fighting. Yeah. And now I can now take a step back as a mum because that's not really my thing, the boshing. But the boys, they love the boshing. And the dad can now really get involved. And that's the dad's role. The dad's role is to be that like he's like throwing the kids on the couch and he's like he's like razzing them up and he's doing all the cool things that the mum can now be like, cool, I've done the nurturing and the loving and the breastfeeding, and now they're at an age where they're like, yeah, dad, whereas before they just wanted mummy, mummy, mummy. So I think the roles reverse. You guys gradually build up to this progressive dad, super dad mode, which is like so iconic in children's eyes. Like I'm sure you would probably remember times like that with your dad perhaps. And the mother can now take a step back because she's done that beautiful nurturing role. So for the mums, it's very sudden. You have to step into that role really quickly. But for the dads,
everything changes
they have that ability to gradually build into it. And so it's probably not as intense for them.
Yeah. And there's also on the other end, there's also that like, I would imagine as a mum, as you, like obviously it's still like team, go team. But there's also that like surrender to like, oh, I'm not as required like as often, as consistently as like, you know, because obviously it's so consuming initially, where you almost have to surrender to that, like, oh, now my identity is changing again away from that maternal nurturing, like every second of every day, to like, you know, there is that space now to figure out who I want to be, how I want to show up, how I can carve back some space for me to be who you want to be.
And that's where women start to think about their health and fitness journey again. Full circle. Yeah. They're like, oh, I've actually come up for water. I can breathe a little bit. I've now got a little bit more time up my sleeve. I can actually factor in some time for this thing now. Yeah. It comes at the detriment, because if they haven't done something for 2 or 3 years, and it's usually, like I always say to women, like at the 8-month mark, your baby's probably having 2 solid naps. You can sort of fit something in an hour 3 times a week. At the 1 year, 15-month mark, they're having that 1 solid nap in the day. So there's like a bit of a window of time where you're like, okay, I'm gathering time back again. And then they get to 2 and 3 and they might go to kinder, or you might have people help and have them for 1 day a week, whatever it might be. But now you see the pockets of time that you have available, and you're like, right, I can now reinvest that time into myself and my identity. Yeah. Part of me is like, you never want to let that identity go. You don't want to ever park it. You just want to maintain it at the bare minimum.
Minimum effective dose.
Yeah, minimum effective dose. Keep it going. Like whatever that looks like for you. 20 minutes, 3 times a week, minimum effective dose. You can get something done. Because it's really hard to pick that back up. So hard. And so if you have that village around you to support you, and it's one of the things when I take clients on, I'm like, who is your village? And if they turn around and say to me, I don't have people that live around me, I'm like, I'm going to be completely honest with you, this is probably going to be challenging. Yeah. Because the nights that you're not sleeping, the nights that your house is a bomb, the days that you haven't cooked anything or even gone grocery shopping.
Your house is allowed to look like kids live there, by the way.
Absolutely. Yeah. It just becomes overwhelming when you're like literally so stimulated by all of the noise and the mess and that you can't focus on doing anything else other than doing that first, that gets in the way. But I always say to people, like, if you don't have help, it's probably going to be a little bit harder. Yeah. I'm really, really realistic, because I don't want people spending the money to coach with me that are going to be wasting it because they don't have the capacity to actually execute the plan. Yeah. And so if you can build a solid community, whatever that looks like for you, whether it is your mother-in-law, your sister, your friends, you're going to have a much nicer time moving through the trenches than what you would have if you didn't have that capacity. And people always say to me, like, how have you found your village? I didn't find my bestest of friends until I became a mother, because I was one of the first people in my school year to have children. So I had children back in the day where we didn't do like, I mean, we got assigned a mother's group, but I never went to that because I didn't feel like I needed to be assigned friends. Yeah. Which, I mean, I know it's there for community and support, et cetera, et cetera.
Well, there's value in it, and like for certain people at certain times, right? 100%. Like there's times where you're like, I need a new friend. There's other times where you're like, I can't keep up with the current, like with the people I want to see, right?
Yeah, so I can't fit in a new friend. I'm not going to do them justice. Yeah. So now, like, I have all these friends that are aligned, have similar values, and we have children that are the same age, and like, we can literally have our kids hang out together, and I can take their kids off their hands and vice versa. And now we've got a village because we live close together. We have children that are close in age. We have the same values. We trust each other. We love each other. And now we have this village beyond our mum and our dad and our sister that we can lean on. And life is really beautiful because we now have aligned values that are going to, again, steer our decision making or provide capacity to then make decisions that are going to push us towards the person we want to become.
Yeah. Hey, KP. Shout out. Best mum of the year. Mum of the decade. Love you. Yeah, and I think that, like, and it's such an interesting one, like, because, we were kind of in our close friendship group, but, like, there were, like, being in this environment, we've had kids in here the whole time. Because, like, obviously parents are like, how do I make this work? And I'm like, oh, dude, just bring your kid to the gym. And, like, early on, there wasn't a conscious thought of doing it this way, but like we don't have a kids area, we don't do like minding necessarily, but like, parents' responsibility to look after the kids, but they can come in here and see that this is a normal part of their of life, right? So, we'll have people who are joining for the first time who might have just had a baby, and they're like, oh, what do I do with them? I'm like, dude, give the baby to the coach. Like, did you put a photo up of Dak yesterday hanging out with Hunter, and just like, he's looking like, who's this weirdo? But it also, like, it's just so wholesome because it's like, mum gets to tick the box, you know, baby's usually happy, having a cuddle or napping in the pram or whatever. But then we see now, and I've seen it with my girls, but we've, you know, the members we've had across the years, you see, like, we've got members now, their kids are training. And like, I remember carrying them around as a baby while I was coaching their parents, you know, and it's like proper full circle stuff. Yeah. But it become like, because like this is a values conversation, and like, you know, what is it like? Don't. It's not about what you say; it's about what you do. It's like, you know, show me your calendar, I'll show you your priorities, kind of thing. It's like when you create the space for yourself to train, and this is a part of who you are, and your kids see that. It's like they're going to grow up being like strong and jacked also, which we love. But they're going to grow up seeing movement and training and being capable as like, this is normal life, right? Yep. Which I think, like, obviously we're very biased because we see it with our communities, but like that's what it should be. And that's almost like there's rites of passage along those lines in these environments that where you're like, okay, well, I'm actually showing up, I'm doing the thing. And it allows us to facilitate the community aspect of it as well, right?
I do love that you guys have the capacity for mums to bring their children here, because that is definitely one of the factors that stops women from training. Yes. There isn't a space where they can bring their children with them, and they don't have the help. And so it's like, I either train from home doing meaningless. It's not meaningless. I don't mean to say it like that, but it's movement. It
depends on the level you're at, right? Like if you're like in a decent level of strength and you're just doing bodyweight stuff, it's like, okay, well, you're moving, but you're not actually stimulating your body to adapt, right?
Absolutely. And you want to adapt. You want to put the time in to get the response.
It's the name of the game, baby.
Yeah, absolutely. But having a space that you can bring your children, train, have a community that supports you, and then walk away and feel like you're making progress, but also expose your kids to an environment that should be very much a part of their life. Like, you're ticking so many boxes. And so while it can be wildly overwhelming to make that first step, if you are doing it with other people that, one, understand where you're coming from, two, have children, three, are welcoming your children into their community, it makes it so much easier to then adhere. It also makes it really enjoyable. And you don't have this anxiety about doing something by yourself. You feel like you're doing it with other people. So while you are doing something by yourself, you're doing it amongst a community of people that are like-minded. And what do they say? They say, if you want to be a certain person, you surround yourself with people that hold the same values or do the thing. Like if I want to be, I don't know, like a good business owner, I'm going to surround myself with people that are good business owners.
If I want to be jacked, I'll hang out with you a little bit more, right?
Yeah, no, and likewise. Yeah, I love it. But I think it really just comes down to reflecting and understanding what you prioritize and where you want to put your time.
Yeah.
Whether you're a mum or not. Like, it doesn't matter. It just means that you have a little less time as a parent. Yeah. Because you have the time being taken up by your children.
Like, this is the thing. It's hard, right? Like, it's not. None of these things are easy. But when you allow yourself to create the space to be like, okay, well, how do I integrate this as part of my life? It gets easier and actually gives you more capacity to do more, right? Like, COVID was a fucking wild time for us, but like it allows us to go like, what's really important? Like I had Coop on the podcast last week, who was our GM back then, still one of our members, but like what we would dial into, like what are we trying to do? What decisions are we making? Hey, Bill, what decisions are we making, and how are we leaning on our values to make these decisions? And for us, it was people and place, and like growth and adaptation. That was what we're here for. So we were like, other gyms were closing. We're like, no, we're going all in on facility and space or place, because it's like, we want a place where people can come and just like exhale and be themselves and be a part of the community, and send it if they need to for a session, or like hit a PB, or just like come and just exist in the space to like give themselves what they need. And I think the best thing about that I like, and this is almost like a secondary consequence, it's almost like, well, the best thing about it is, people have a place to go. But the secondary part is like, you have a whole community of people from, like our youngest athlete's 6, which is like
crazy,
like younger than we'd planned, but it's like Max is a little legend. He's like motocross kid. He's just like, all right, well, if he can ride a motorbike around, we want him to be stronger so he can do this. So I'm Absolutely. Like, and like good training is good training. We want him to enjoy it and stuff, but he leans in, he gets it done. Our oldest is like, 70s, 80s. So it's like, we have the whole lifespan in here, which I love. And I think, being able to build lifelong athletes and train people through every aspect of their life is what I love about what we get to do. But you'll have like, at any one time, like we don't have we run a different style to most gyms. We run like semi-private. So it's like, we got a 5-hour shift where you can come whenever you want.
Yes.
And you'll get coaching all the time, right?
Yes.
You can have, it depends on what program you're on and stuff, but on what you'll be doing. But we might have like, at 8 a.m. in the morning, we might have a couple of like kids coming before school. They're just going to ride the bicycle before they do it, like after they do their session. We've got a couple of mums. Might have a couple of grandparents. We might have a couple of like, semi-professional athletes. And like, there's the grandmas are usually pretty clucky, so they're happy to hang out with the kids. There's the little kids are like, interacting with the toddlers and stuff that are running around.
Naturally.
And it ends up being this space where you're like, you look at it and you're like, holy shit, we represent the whole lifespan, but like everyone interacts in different things. So and it seems silly, but like the grandparents can learn shit off the 6-year-old who's like just getting after it and just like dialed in, ticking the boxes and stuff. And the 20-year-old can learn something from the grandparents who are like, maybe we need to slow down a little bit and just relax. And then it's like, you have the capacity to, and this is the best thing about community and something that I think we obviously certain parts of our population lose for big periods of time, but being able to find a community that, again, is reflective of the kind of person you want to be, that leans on the same values and things like that, and you've been able to build it, and like with your whole community of mums who are now like getting after it, getting strong. They're not on poverty calories. They're eating to fuel. They're eating to get stronger. They're eating to build their capacity. They're training for the same things, which means that 6 months, 12 months, 18 months, 10 years down the track, when they've constantly been doing this thing, they're like you're building an army of like strong mums, which is the best.
Yeah, I never ever preach fat loss, and I do fat loss phases as a bodybuilder, and I will obviously facilitate fat loss phases for my clients, but it's not something that I market. Like a lot of coaches, they market, this is what I did as a mum to get back into shape, and this is what I did to look like this, and a lot of it is like
influencers on the internet.
Literally. It's like, I dialed in on my food and I did this. I'm very much about building back your systems, and if you get incidental fat loss for that, we're good. Like I've literally created this, like I said yesterday, this TDE calculator that tells you what calories you need, and it has like build, maintenance, lose, and the lose will only allow you to lose 300 grams per week if you're in your postpartum, because unless you are holding a really large amount of weight that's like at the detriment of your health and your joints, you shouldn't really be losing weight in the first 6 months postpartum. That is my own rule. Based off research and a really refined decision.
Experiential learning as well, right?
100%. It's a period where women are already depleted. Lack of sleep, lack of energy, hormones drop, like you are losing muscle. You are not just losing fat. You literally lose estrogen and progesterone. Estrogen is one of the primary hormones in building muscle and retaining muscle. The last thing you want to do is go into a deficit or train in a way that is going to cause more stress. Cough, cough. Group classes. Like, I'm sorry.
But it's like this, the fatigue-based, stress-based, like...
your nervous system is already fried. It's like in the bin. Like, you've swept it up. It's like, it's been on fire. You've like gotten the ashes and you've popped it in the bin. And then you're like, I'm going to try and like... And now the bin's on fire because the ashes are still burning. And then you're now trying to hose it off with... And that's happened. My child have done that.
About it. It's the best. Because it's like being tired doesn't like makes you tired. It doesn't make you better. And they're like... Anyone can make anyone tired, right?
Yeah.
My mechanic could trade me and make me my mechanic's Jack. So, but
hey Jack,
Jack to
Jack. Oh, is he Jack?
Shout out to Pete. But it's like anyone can make you tired, but like for me, it's like we want to enjoy it, we want to be adherent, but we also we need to be making progress. And if mums are just going, I'm already tired, so I'm just gonna go get sweaty. Like I hate the calling. I don't know. It's just I hate when. It's a session, it's not a workout, right?
Yeah.
It's like, you're not going for a sweat, you're going to stimulate your body to actually adapt, right? So it's like... And
it adapts when you rest, and you're getting minimal rest.
I mean, the amount of people...
And you're probably eating the toast off your child's plate.
But this is exactly it, right? And your protein's probably low and these kind of things. It's so for me, it's training exists to... we don't train to lose weight, we train to build capacity.
Yes.
We change what we're consuming to potentially lose fat or potentially change our body composition. Yeah. When we understand this, then the conversation will be like, okay, well, the three most important parts for adaptation are stimulus or stress, recovery, space to respond, and then the adaptation occurs, right?
Yeah.
Stimulus adaptation. We have two things, yeah? If you don't have both of those things in your week,
Yep.
we're not going to get the third thing.
No.
Yeah. If you have too much of this and not enough of this, we're not going to get the third thing. If you have too much of this and vice versa, right? So it's like, how do I get optimal? I don't know that word. How do I get an adequate amount of stimulus, more than an adequate amount of rest and recovery, so that I adapt? And then we just like find a system that works. Like you're a lower volume, like, you know, higher quality, day on, day off kind of like, that's what I gathered from yesterday. It's like, you know, you're better off doing a 45-minute session every other day than training every day. Like
100%. Like I'm a person that, and because I have high exposure to one-to-one coaching, which is something that I think is, it's a benefit of me, I suppose. Like I don't just deliver this cookie cutter program that's like, here's your prenatal program for the next 9 months, because I don't get to see how someone responds to that. But because I take on one-to-one clients, I can see the response. I deal with it on the daily.
See what they do, how they move, how they're feeling, all of the
100%.
feedback. Like you get 1,000 different feedback mechanisms, right?
Yeah, so I can identify patterns.
Yes.
And so, and even in the postpartum period, exactly the same. And so, yes, I am very much a minimum effective dose in the postpartum period, because there is a minimum effective dose coming in. Like you are getting, as I said, minimum sleep, minimum food, minimum hydration, minimum nervous system regulation. And what happens when you go train really hard? Your central nervous system is fried. Like your brain has to literally send a message to the muscle to do the thing. You don't give your body enough fuel. Your brain doesn't have enough cognitive function to actually send the message to the muscle, and then you will come back with an injury, because whatever you were trying to do is really fast paced, because you're just trying to burn a sweat, that you end up injured, and then you end up eliminating exercise out of your life because you're like, I tried this, it didn't suit me. And then you end up coming back in a year and a half wanting to do it again because you've hit rock bottom. Whereas my approach is, I want to keep you in the game. And whatever allows you to keep you in the game for longer is what we're doing. But also my other thing is, if you're going to dedicate the time and put the time in, you need to get the best return on your investment. And so I will never make you do something that is just for the sake of it. Like I see programming and I see pointless
language.
I see pointless programming. Like I'm never going to program an exercise because it's like,
stop doing burpees.
Yeah, stop doing burpees. Yeah, exactly. I'm never going to program an exercise that is going to give you nothing in return. There's just no point. You're there, you've got minimum time. You need to do the things that matter the most.
Yes.
And so that is how I see a lot of training in parenthood. We all have very little time. At the point that you have more time, you do the fun things. Like at the moment, I have time to train. So I'll add in some fun things. I've started I've only just recently started adding in plyometrics again, because I feel well rested. I feel strong.
Good.
And I don't get me wrong, I probably could have started this a little bit earlier, but I have been in a vulnerable time of bodybuilding, and when I look the most jacked, I am the most vulnerable. So that is not a time to add in plyometrics. When I'm well fueled, well rested, well trained, this time right now, I'm upwards of 10 kilos from stage weight. I'm sleeping well. My kids sleep through the night or crawl into my bed, but we all sleep.
You shifted back to the performance phase, right?
Back to the performance. And my performance is
and
escalated. And as a result, my body composition has soared. And people can see that. They're like, wow, like her glutes have grown and this has grown. And I'm loving training, and I'm able to pick up surfing, and I'm able to, again, add in the plyometrics. And I don't know, I go swim sometimes. I'm here for it, because I now have this capacity to make training fun again, because I have the capacity to recover from it. But there was a period of time, like the last 5 years of my life.
Next baby, you'll be like,
literally,
you'll be like, okay, I don't have this capacity anymore. How do I not get worse, and how do I continue to move the needle forward in some way, shape, or form?
You have to accept the phase you're in, and you have to find a way to enjoy it.
Yes.
A lot of people, they get fixated with the outcome, and they don't actually pay enough attention to the
and
how to get there.
I reckon most people who scroll Instagram, which is most of us, would have seen that video of the radio host being like, reading that letter of like, I saw myself as a 27-year-old. That like, it's like,
and they're cuddling that.
Don't give away today for an imaginary tomorrow, right?
Yeah.
Back on the phases we're in right now, you need to go to school pickup. I need to take Billy to swimming. So, last question for you. We'll probably have to do a part 2 on just like training stuff, I reckon.
Yeah.
But last question for you. Actually, I got 2 questions. What's the one piece of advice you would have for women?
Yep.
Not just like pre or postnatal. Well, everyone I guess is all women are pre or postnatal, right?
Yeah.
What advice would you have for women if you could just say like 1 or 2 things?
Strength train.
Yes.
Eat enough food.
Yes.
That's it. It's as simple as
Perfect.
that.
Oh,
You
good.
eat enough tuna, you
We
strength train.
clocked it. Yeah. It's not that fucking hard.
It's not that
And
hard.
drink more water.
Yeah, and drink more water.
So last question. What are you most proud of?
My children.
Yes. Love that.
It's as simple as that.
Good. Shout out. Thank you for coming on.
Thank you for
It was
having
an
me.
absolute pleasure. Be amazing. Get around her. Oh, how can people find you and stuff?
At Natal Strength Coach is my Instagram handle, natalstrengthcoach.com website. You can jump into my DMs. You can send an email to hello@natalstrengthcoach. So hello@natalstrengthcoach.com as well, and we'll get back to you.
Love your work. Be amazing.
Have a good day.